Well, welcome to our first ever episode of Conversations with Old Interns. As I started thinking about how much you listen to me, I thought, oh goodness, we need more people to talk. And so, not only have you heard from Aaron and Chris this summer, but we have this whole group of people who have been interns for us here in our youth ministry, and they are fantastic. And so today, we're going to have a conversation with an intern from 2018. Her name is Brooke Dixon. And Brooke was a great intern for us that summer, outstanding. And so she and I are going to have a conversation about journey and her journey. And she said something about Trek that summer that I had totally forgotten. It was such a huge blessing to me. So take a minute, watch this conversation with Brooke, and I'll see you later. Hopefully a few of y'all remember our intern Brooke from a couple of summers ago. Brooke just finished up at Texas Tech last year and is still living there in Lubbock. And I just thought we'd have a conversation with her about faith and journey. And so, Brooke, tell us what's been going on since we last saw you here in Austin a couple summers ago.
Yeah, it feels like it's been so long. I've missed all of you. I think the other day I joined Darren's, Instagram live, and he's like, "That was our intern." I was like, "Yes, I was." And just like missing everybody. But we can't see each other because of COVID. Faith journey. I think it's so awesome to get to look back and that God gives us those memories to show us where he's brought us from. Like, I can't imagine if we didn't have memories and we couldn't remember like how good and sovereign he was in those times.
Yeah.
And I think back to like high school and just not really knowing who God was and thinking that I did. And thinking that I just knew exactly who he was and exactly how he worked, and he was all rules to me. I was very much a follow the rules, be a good person. And now that I look back on that, I'm like, what a prison that was for me and how it didn't work. Like, it never worked out, and that never clicked in my brain of like, rules are not going to help me in life. I mean, boundaries are good, but without love, they have no sustainability.
So what was kind of the turning point for you then? Like, if you were like, because I think we've all been there where we have that sense of God where he is sovereign and we're going to just do what he says and we're going to follow those rules, but yet we lose the love in that. What was kind of the turning point for you in that?
I had a friend and a boyfriend at the time that just asked me why a lot. Why do you do this? Or why do you talk to people this way? Why do you see the world this way? And I think the question why is really powerful because it makes you assess deeper than I think what we normally associate why with. I think we are like, wait a minute, that's connected to something much deeper than what I outwardly show. I think the question why is like, oh man, that attaches to me as a person and some of maybe the hurt that I felt, that's why I was putting up some fronts that I needed to get rid of. And also just is my why God, I think was a big thing. Was my why, was everything that I was doing, was it for the glory of God? And the answer was no. And so that time was really rocky because the answer was no. And now my whole world was turned on its head and I had to decide, okay, was I going to continue down the path I was going, or do I really want to glorify God?
Yeah. So how long did that take? Because that doesn't sound like it was like I asked this why question and now everything's amazing and I get it. So like, how has that worked for you from that point in high school as you started asking those why questions? Like, how has that moved forward and how long has it taken you to get to where you are?
I would say until now and to never stop asking why. You can become very complacent and very stagnant really quickly if you stop asking why. But the rocky part, I would say, was definitely for good. 2 to 3 years where I just was pleading with God, trying to understand him, and he was being very clear, and I was the one with bad connection. I was the one who wasn't understanding it. But he was just so gracious, as he always is during that time, to reveal to me slowly things that he's like, Brooke, I want your heart. And that message to me was like life changing, because I always thought he wanted my actions and he wanted me to do the right thing all the time. But when I continually heard the message, I want your heart, I began to understand his love and that he wants to be king of me. And that changes how I see myself and how I see others. And it was, I'm so glad that he put my world upside down, because in the long run, it's so much better.
Yeah, but so like when you're 15 though, and you talk about 2 to 3 years, which I think that's a totally natural thing. Like, but at 15, you go 2 years, 3 years. You think it's going to take me that long? And like I don't know. I've always thought like things have got to happen fast, and maybe that's just because like you're in Lubbock and I'm in Austin, and we're talking on a box, you know, and like things just happen, right? And so, like, did you feel in that time like you were learning it? Like, was it a slow learning process, or did it take like a couple of years and then you just go, oh, was it like an aha moment? How was that for you?
I think that, like you said, like there was a lot of times that I wanted things to happen fast, and they were happening fast. Like God was answering prayers. Like there was like a top level that he was answering and a bottom level that he was answering. Like for instance, going to Austin, I remember thinking like, this doesn't work with my college plan. Like this doesn't work with the years that I want to be in college. And like kind of just crying with my roommate, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what God is asking me to do. And she's like, do you want to go? I'm like, yes. Do you think it's going to glorify God? And I was like, yes. She's like, then you need to be honest and you need to like be all in. And that's one of those moments where like he was working on teaching me that he wants my heart, but he was also giving me yeses in there. And that time was not without joy either. Like there was so much joy and so many, even though it was difficult, there was a lot of good things that were happening. And so it's not like I feel like people picture being in quicksand and just like never being able to get out. And it's just like, ugh, like all the time. But it was not like that. There was so much joy, but also I would say more behind the scenes heart, where I'm talking with God and just like, God, what are you doing? Where are you at? What is it that you want? And he would answer in some of the smallest, awesomest ways. Yeah. So like, you know, we went on Trek that summer that you and Zach worked here at Brentwood Oaks. And I remember I didn't make it to the top of the mountain that summer. And you guys did. Everybody else made it to the top, and that was awesome. Talk about that process, that journey to get to where you kind of feel like the why has led you. Like, has it been like you feel like you're up above things now, or is it one of those things where you go up and then you come back down? Like, how has that worked out for you? I love Trek. I think Trek taught me so much, because it took a lot to get to the top of the mountain, as we both know. And sometimes you don't make it to the top. Sometimes you want to with all of your might and you just don't. And like God is still there. Yeah. And sometimes you're in the valley and God is there. And I think right now Cameron and I had like kind of like an aha moment of like, we see God casting a vision for us. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that vision was casted, I feel like it was kind of like all right, now, like, what do we do?
Global pandemic.
Yes, exactly. Like, we saw God casting a vision for us to do missions, and now we're questioning where
Yeah.
and for how long and what do we need to do to prepare, and and so I think we got to see, like, God is like, I'm in control, I have a plan for you, and then we're like, okay, let's trek back down and figure out what we need to do.
Yeah.
I also I just thought of what they told us after we got done trekking, which was things don't grow on top of the mountain.
Mm.
People don't grow on top of the mountain. People grow at the bottom, and our job as Christians is to reach people.
I
And
forgot that.
I loved that part because it's like, yep, that's so true. Like,
Yeah.
so many friendships start with some of the worst things, but they grow to be some of the best friendships, and they start in those valleys, but that's where God wants them to start.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
I needed that word today. Like I had totally forgotten about that in that process. Cause in my mind, I just went, well, junk. I didn't make it to the top. Like I'm a failure. I'm terrible. And like, I don't know. I think sometimes in my faith, I do the same thing. Like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, God. I'm not on the mountaintop with you. Like I'm a failure. What am I doing in this? And man, I needed that word today, Brooke.
I'm glad that he gave it through me because it definitely wasn't me.
Absolutely. Well, and I just want to thank you for hanging out and talking. I hope that summer that you spent with us, you had as much fun as I did. There was a
Yes,
lot of,
I had so
like you
much
said,
fun.
crazy times. There were difficult times that summer, but there were also a lot of really great times. And I'll never forget you and Zach being here and us doing this youth center. And you guys did a
Scraping
lot
cold.
of work. Scraping the pole. We won't talk about Zach's failure there, will we? He's never going to watch this. It's fine. But hey, I'm just thankful for you and thank you for hopping on with me. And you want to tell everybody bye? Give a shout out.
Yes. Bye. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and trying to follow on at home because I know it can be difficult, but I miss y'all and I hope that y'all stay connected to people as much as you can and stay connected to God. And James. James is an awesome way to help. He's helped me even past my time in there. So love y'all. Be safe.
All right. Catch y'all later.
Bye,
Bye.
James.